Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Monday morning. I have an RDO, which means I do not need to go to work. So what I'm going to be doing instead is casting a ton more Starcraft 2 replays. Now we do have a Diamond/Platinum level game going on here. Nemesis, I believe, is at Platinum League at the time of casting this game. He is going to be our red Protoss player. And down the bottom right side we have our blue Zerg player Lucuss, who is in Diamond League as this game is going on. He's in Diamond League, so there we go. We'll see who does well. This may be Nemesis' point of getting into Diamond League. If he wins this game, he may be on the brink, of getting into Diamond. And maybe Lucuss has had a bit of a bad time. Maybe he's been losing, and if he loses this game, maybe he's going back down to Platinum. But I don't think so. I think both these players are going to play an excellent game, and we're going to see exactly how that excellent game plays out. So we haven't got too much going on. Pretty standard stuff from the Zerg player, getting the first Overlord out and then building up a ton of drones straight after that. And now we can expect him to go into either a hatchery or a spawning pool off 14 workers. Usually it's off 14 workers. You can see he's got a lava there, so he's not building anything, so he's definitely, there we go, there goes the spawning pool. Would not be surprised to see a hatchery come down soon after this, but we'll have to see. Some people, actually, they don't go 14 pool then 14 hatch, they usually go 14 pool then 16 hatch these days. Seems to be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more economically viable or something like that. Here we go, we have a forge coming down for the Protoss player. So that is forge before gateway, so he may be looking at some cannons to block off this entrance from Lings and secure a quick expansion. He may also be going for a cannon rush, but I don't think he is. This probe is just in there for scouting. He sees the spawning pool. I suppose he saw the expansion. If he didn't before, he's going to see it now. So he knows that everything is fairly standard from the Zerg side of the field. And there, another probe just scouting over there. Just got to pass by the Overlord, and they're both like, yeah, we totally got screwed. Overlord's like, is there a base there? And the probe's like, nah, there's nothing there, man. And the Overlord's like, oh crap, it's going to take me forever to go home. What a waste of time. But what is not a waste of time is watching this game. And also subscribing, of course. If you want to subscribe, definitely not a waste of time. But that's it. No more. I'm not going to plug myself anymore in this game. We are just going to watch the game and cast it, and it is going to be awesome. Speaking of awesome, we have another gateway. We have a pylon. I think there's a gap above this gateway. So that's a pylon. I thought it might have been a cannon. Here comes the cannon. There we go. So these are going to be bunkered in nice and tight. You don't want to make a... there definitely must be a gap there, because if there was no gap there, then you would have to destroy either the gateway or the forge to get out. And that would be very bad. You can expect, if a million Lings suddenly pop out on the field, him to put a pylon in front of there to completely block this off. But it is probably hoping not to have to do that. We have a... I could say this is a proxy pylon, but proxy pylons are generally supposed to be closer to the enemy base than your main base. And it's debatable as to whether this is closer, because of course there's a big hunk of rocks in front of this ramp, so he has to go all the way around, and I don't think that ends up actually being closer. But of course he can warp down on here, silly me, so he can warp down in there, and it is sort of closer. It's fairly close. There's rocks here as well though, so it's not as close as he would like. Still have to go through there, but I mean, what are you going to do? Proxy pylon here probably would have been a better choice, but it depends and when he wants to start warping in units, and it doesn't look like he's going to be warping in units anytime soon, because he's only just started building his cybernetics core. He has been working on a bit of economy though. His harvest account is not that far behind the Zergs, but the Zerg is going to be taking off in the work account now. He's really going to be pushing that now that he's got his expansion down. He's not expecting any massive amount of anything coming from the Protoss player. If we have a look at the... He doesn't actually know about the expansion though, so he should still be wary of some sort of pressure, but I mean, every single Protoss player and Terran player these days tends to go for a fast Nexus. It just seems to be a thing these days that you do, so he's probably not expecting any fast harassment. He's probably expecting the Protoss to expand fairly soon, so he's not really that worried. There are going to be two Zealots in here, but there is going to be a Spine Crawler and a queen and another queen. So they're zealots, and they're really not going to do much, but they are going to just go over, say hi, how's it going, introduce themselves, and then, like very bad guests, they're going to go in and they're going to make a mess of things. But they should not completely crash the party, and they should get thrown out by the bouncers, aka the queens, after a matter of minutes, so it should be fine. Yeah, got a Templar. This is not a Templar Archives. Twilight Council. It's called a Twilight Council. That's what it's called. That queen is going to get away. I think that queen is going to survive. Zealots might get this down, but the second queen coming in, it's just going to really start putting the hurt on these zealots. Is he going to take the other queen? No, not enough time. So yeah, the Twilight Council going down, so we can expect either some High Templars or maybe even Dark Templars, or maybe we're just going to go for Zealot Legs or Blink Stalker sort of tech, something like that. Anyway, we've got a Mothership Core coming down, so that's going to be pretty sweet. Mothership Core going in, splatting all over the place. This guy does have a Spore Crawler though, and he does have queens, so the effectiveness of the Mothership Core is somewhat debatable at this point, but we are going to see exactly how it does when it comes out, which should be, actually it's already out, so we'll see what it does. Unfortunately it doesn't have an air attack, so it can't take care of these overlords, but here we go. Here's the Dark Shrine, so he's going for a relatively cheesy sort of build. Going Dark Templars before the 10-minute mark, I would say definitely counts as cheese. The Zerg player does have a Spore Crawler, but it's not close to the workers. Here comes another one close to the workers though. I mean, what can you say about that? That's just genius. That's just absolute genius. I don't know if he's scouted the Dark Shrine. No, he hasn't scouted a single Protoss building so far. So this is just good gaming sense to get these Spore Crawlers down, and he really is countering the Dark Templar build without even knowing it. So I don't know if that's luck, or if I don't know if that's skill, but given that he is in Diamond League, I'm going to say that that's skill, and good on him for doing that. Here we go, we've got an observer coming out, and he's going to observe this huge ramp, and he's going to report back on the state of this huge ramp to the Protoss High Command, and they're going to be like, yeah, thanks for that report. Tons of stuff going on in the Zerg base. We've got Lucuss tech coming on, we've got Roach/Hydra upgrades going on, we've got a Spire, we've got a ton of Spine Crawlers, is that what they're called? Yes, ton of Spine Crawlers, tons of Creep as well. He's creeping all over the place. Where are all these Spine Crawlers coming down? Oh, there they go. I don't understand how he can not know about the Dark Templars and be building this defense. What is he building this defense for, if not for the goddamn Dark Templars? Because I haven't seen him scout the Dark Templar building, but yet he seems to know that Dark Templars are coming. He's just, I don't know. I do not know how he knows that these Dark Templars are coming. But he is definitely ready for them regardless. Maybe this is just general defense or something like that. But here he goes. Look at these beautiful Spine Crawlers, just in the perfect position to defend that queen. And here comes a couple more. They're probably going to go for a different base now, and they might be able to do some major damage here. They're not going for the hatchery though. They're not going to do some major damage going for the hatchery. They need to find the Spore Crawlers. There's one right there. They need to take it out, because they are going to die in a matter of seconds here. They might be able to take this out. They do a lot of damage. But here they go. Ah, look at the Queen's transfuse on the hatchery, and I don't think this is going to go down. There we go. Spore Crawler comes up, helps the Queens to destroy those Dark Templars, and the 3 Spine Crawlers are up. And I think this Dark Templar harass is probably over at this point. I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. They did do a nice job going in there, but I really think he should have taken out this Spore Crawler while it was still building up. He doesn't have any overseers. Of course, the Protoss didn't know that. He was maybe assuming there were going to be some, but yeah, I mean, what can you do? He went for the hatchery, he didn't quite make it, so now he's going to have to take into something else. And that something else looks to be Colossus. He's got a couple of Immortals. He doesn't really have a major ground army, but he is going to do more in that stage. He's actually got, what is it? How many gateways does this guy have? I can't see the gateways on here. Why can't I see the gateways on here? Why is it not showing the gateways on this tab? Am I blind? Am I not seeing it? Structures. Why are there no gateways on this thing? There are no gateways on that thing. I can't see any, so we're going to have to count them manually. There's 3, there's 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought there was about 7 or 8. And here comes a Stargate. This thing is broken. Somebody report to somebody to tell them that this thing is broken, because that's bad. Speaking of bad, here we go. This is a wall of twitchy things that kill everything, and yes, I heard this referred to as the Wall of Crawl by somebody in some game, and it seems like a very apt name, but I probably try not to use that name because I don't want to be stealing off other people, but it does look very impressive. And I don't know why there's that many spore crawlers, because he's got to have realised that after those couple of Dark Templar attacks, that he's just, he's not going to really have to worry about Dark Templars anymore. And I'm not sure if he expects air, because he really hasn't scouted anything in the Protoss base, so he has no idea if he's even building a Stargate or not. So this has got a couple of spine crawlers. Of course, these guys are going to absolutely rip through the Colossus, but they don't have as much range as the Colossus. So once again, I'm not sure this wall is going to be that effective. Here we go, some more Dark Templars coming in from the side. They are going to be in for the time of their lives here. These other Dark Templars just coming in with this army. This army, I think, should do a fairly good job of wiping these guys out. The Zerg army, however, is well, there isn't really a Zerg army, to be completely honest. There's a bunch of swarm hosts and 1 roach and 2 lings. So he was really depending on these guys to hold off the army, and he really screwed up. I'm going to have to say he screwed up at this point, because this army is just going to wipe through these guys. Swarm hosts are going to hold the Protoss army back, but they're not going to be able to wipe it out. So we're going to see if the Protoss can push through these Locusts. Colossus very good against the Locusts, and start doing some actual damage to the Swarm hosts. And if he starts killing Swarm hosts, then I think the Zerg player is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's already in a lot of trouble, but alright, he is going to push the Protoss army back with those Locusts. Locusts, just the annoying little bastards that they are. Very good at defensive play. I'm going to say not that good at anything else, unless you have the positioning perfect. Like if you put them here, for example, you could send them in and you could wipe out these guys, but they're so far away that it's very hard for the Protoss player to go out and attack them. He's not doing that though this time. He's got a pylon up here. He's got a pylon up here. And yeah, he's just going to be running around, killing creep, doing stuff. He could probably get these queens. He's going to try and get these queens. There goes 1, there goes 2. Bunch of locusts coming in to save the queens. I think the remaining queens are going to be alright. Some excellent use of the force fields to knock these locusts back. They have a very low range, so force fields here stops them from attacking anything. But of course they do swarm around the force fields around to the side, so they are going to be taking out quite a large amount of units. And considering the Protoss player isn't actually killing any real units, this is going to be very bad. He needs to push back, he needs to get his army up, and he really needs to find an answer for these locusts. Unfortunately, they're hidden within the 1 remaining spore crawler, so Dark Templars, which may have been an option to take these guys out, not going to be an option so much anymore. This guy is just building more and more spore crawlers. He knows how annoying they are. The Protoss player, however, is getting some Void Rays, and Void Rays may be the answer to the Swarm host, because of course these guys can attack air. They can attack air in the campaign if you get the special upgrade to make them attack air, but right now they cannot attack air. They can just attack ground, and they're not going to be able to attack any ground from that position. So a large amount of Void Rays could definitely do a large amount of damage to these guys. And look at this, they're getting right in range. They're getting really up in the Protoss's face at this point. He's pushed back, but the Locusts just can move so far before they actually die, and it's going to be painful, very painful for the Protoss army to move in here, especially when you got 2 armor on these guys. They don't have much health, but 2 armor just he's just losing his army over and over again. The swarm hosts really they're just absolutely awesome. I won't say awesome, but they're just annoying as all hell. These Colossus need to get out of here. He needs to have an answer to the Locust, and right now I don't think he's going to have it. I don't even know if there is an answer in the Protoss army to get rid of this, but this is going to be his answer. Void Rays with a couple of observers, Just wiping these guys out. That's exactly what he needs to do. He's going to have a bit of trouble with these queens though. But yeah, the transfuse on the spore crawler, he's going to have to back off there. That was a good idea, but he didn't have enough void rays to pull it off, so he's going to have to back out. And I don't know why he's building buildings here. He's trying to use them as a buffer zone or something for these Lucuss, but no, it's he's really got his back against the wall here. If we have a look at expansions, the Zerg has 5, the Protoss only just getting up his 4th one. But if the Zerg moves these Lucuss forward to about this middle section of the map, they could take out this base very easily. Very easily. And the only good unit I've seen which is really good versus the Lucuss is either Mass Colossus or High Templar with Storm. Now Colossus all depends on the formation they come in. If they come in a long line, Colossus are good. If they come in a straight line like this, Colossus not all that effective. High Templar, of course, very effective when they group up, but then again, you do not want to be wasting Storm energy on Lucuss because, I mean, you're not really killing an actual unit, you're just killing, it's like a Broodling almost, except it's 10 times as tough and it does a lot more damage. And here we go, he's got a large amount of Colossus here, like 3 or 4, he's got a bunch of Void Rays as well, so he should be able to hold off the Lucuss at that point because half of them are dying by the time they get here anyway. So here we go. The Zerg player might think about moving these swarm hosts in. Might see what he can do. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Protoss try some harassment now. Harassing into the back of the base, because swarm hosts are not designed for base defense. They are not fast. They can, if he decides to attack this base, the Zerg has almost nothing he can send over there to defend it. He's got no lings, he's got no roaches, he's got no hydras. He has nothing that can save these guys. All he can do is move the workers away while the Dark Templars take out this hatchery. So I think, yeah, maybe it might be a good time to maybe think about this Dark Templar harass again. Let these guys keep coming in. Hit sideways. That's what he's really got to do. He's got to do some sideways action because going frontways is just Lucuss 24/7. So he does not want to go in through the front door. He wants to go in through the side door. He wants to start taking out the economy. And he wants to show the Zerg exactly what a weak position he's put himself in by just going all Swarm Host. Because Swarm Hosts, I mean, they just can't defend anything. They can defend anything when they're right next to it, and if the timing's right. If he were to run in right after this Swarm Host, like right now, he could run in. Swarm Hosts are defenseless for like another 10-15 seconds or so, and that's really one of the downsides for the Swarm Host, is that they do a massive attack, but they do it so infrequently, and they just cannot move to defend stuff. So there you go. Protoss has built up a nice army, lots of Colossus, lots of Void Rays. Got to be fairly good, but I still don't think a front attack is going to be that good here, because yeah, I mean, he's going to lose so many forces. The Dark Templars are good because the Lucuss can't see the Dark Templars, and the Lucuss don't do area of attack. But here we go, the Swarm Host moving in, finally. So they're going to be going straight for the Nexus, or straight for this group over there. Colossus are going to try and hold this back, but there's just so many Swarm Hosts. And the Colossus are getting taken out here, and he's got to go back. He's got to find another avenue of attack, because this is just not working. He's got some Void Rays, but there's just a stupid amount of Queens here. He really needs to get up to like 10-12 Queens. So, not 10-12 Queens, 10-12 Void Rays. Just go on the top side, just start wiping these guys out. Of course, the Vipers, pulling them into the Queens, is not going to be fun either, and he has built up his Spore Crawler army up here. So that is going to definitely hurt the Void Rays when they try and come in. And I guess this is just sort of another way of doing a tank push, I guess, for the Terran player. He'd go in with his tanks, and he'd do a very slow tank push. He'd move the tanks in a bit, he'd move the army in front of them, and he'd just do a slow tank push, or what used to be a Spine and Spore push from the Zerg player. He'd just go in very slowly, he'd constantly move his Spines and Spores closer in, and then when he got in close enough, he'd be able to actually attack buildings with his Spines and Spores. And this is just another way of doing a very, very slow push with a very, very large army. The Zerg cannot deal with this amount of units. He's got the Tempests, which are going to be good versus the Swarm Host. This may be actually an excellent counter for the Swarm Host, because they've got such a long range, and if they get up here, they've got a good position. The Queens are not going to have too many problems. They're not going to have, you know, any sort of good way to attack these guys. But right now they're being stuck, and here we go. Here's the Archons. Archons, I mean, they're good. Their splash damage is awesome, but you can see just in the last half of that exchange, they lost all of their shields, and Archons basically only have shields. So it's just not going to work. Everything just dies too fast to this massive amount of Lucuss, and with 3-3, I mean, that's just an absolutely nasty amount of damage. Maybe you should just stay back and hope that the Zerg player doesn't actually send these guys. But here we go. He's noticed. He's moving his forces a little bit closer. He's going to go for this hatchery. Not this hatchery, this Nexus. And the Protoss player, he doesn't have an answer at the moment. He's definitely not ahead. He's definitely behind in this game. And is just a fundamental inability to counter this Swarm Host push. It's not extremely fancy, but you've got the Vipers and you've got the Queens and you've got the Spore Crawlers all backing up this Swarm Host, and it's just damn effective. It really is just damn effective at the moment. Of course, not having a rally point is not very effective, but I'm sure he's fixed that by now. And there we go, right in to this area. Here we go. This is what I want to see. Moving in for a bunch of Zealots and Hatcheries. This is going to be what turns the tide. Of course, he's already got the Swarm Host, and the Swarm Host, it doesn't cost any energy to produce the Lucuss. So he is going to run into a bit of problems. He's not going to be able to take down this army, but he is going to be able to cripple the economy. And I think that's definitely what he needs to do. Now, what he could do is have a Dark Templar wall here. Dark Templar wall right down this line. That would be brilliant. There's a few times in the campaign, the original campaign, we can do a Dark Templar wall. He should have a Dark Templar wall. That is going to be my counter for Lucuss Swarm, for the Swarm Host. A Dark Templar wall, and just hope that the Zerg don't have detection anywhere near. But he's trying, he's doing his best, but there's just so many Lucuss. There's just so many. You really can't do anything at this point. And it hasn't been so much, he's just... There we go, the Queen's starting to move in. The Dark Templar's going in there, sniping some of the Queens. He's building some more Spore Crawlers out the front. He knows there's Dark Templars in there, he's trying to get a counter on them. These guys, they're actually starting to attack probes now. The Tempests trying to do the stuff, but they're just doing so little damage. The Tempests need to move in and start taking out the Swarm Host. Stop worrying about the Lucuss. If you lose this base, you lose this base, but just wipe out these Swarm Hosts. I mean, he really, really, really needs to start doing that, because every minute you leave these Swarm Hosts alive, that's just another few units you lose without the Zerg player having to spend any money. So really, 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 I mean, Tempest, you're wasting them. There we go, he's starting to attack. He took out one Spore Crawler, he's taken out another one. He needs to go in, he needs to start taking these Swarm Hosts out right now. Like, not 2 minutes from now, or not 1 minute. Oh, there we go, that's probably what he was afraid of. They dragged one Tempest in, they dragged another Tempest into the Spore Crawlers. And here we go. The Tempers, of course, can attack air units, and they were doing a fantastic job. Now here we go. Where's the Observer? Where's the Observer? You need to start attacking these bloody Swarm Hosts. But he is focusing on the Vipers at the moment. There is quite a large Viper army here. He is losing Tempest one by one. And there's a lot of Spore Crawlers back here. So that's going to be very bad for the Protoss force. He's even got a carrier out here. But he's focusing on the Spore Crawlers and focusing on the Vipers. He's not focusing on the Swarm Host. And, you know, that's fair enough. He's got to get the Spore Crawlers out. But I think he could probably just go ahead and start attacking the Swarm Host here. He really needs to get them down. Look at this base. This base is going to get completely wiped out. I would just abandon that base at the moment. Because this Spore Crawler is just so easy to build. So, I think he's only actually got... Oh, he's got 6 Tempests left. I'm sure I should have the production tower up. He's only building one more. Just Swarm Host, man. Just Swarm Hosts all over the place. Here we go. Here comes the Corruptors. And they're going to be the final say in getting rid of these air units. I think the Zerg player shouldn't have any more problems with these guys. Look at this Corruptor Swarm. He's just gone absolutely nuts. And I think the Protoss is in a lot of trouble in this game. He tried something, but with the mass amount of Spore Crawlers, which are just so cheap to build, he's just going to have too many problems here. Has not found a way to kill the Swarm Host. I really think Void Rays might have been the best option, but with this Corruptor Force out now, there's no way it's going to help. He's going to get Immortals now, but Immortals, of course, are a ground unit, so they're not going to help either. Immortals are not going to do that much. You've got a couple of Zealots in here, doing some damage. This guy's sort of trapped a little bit. They're going to take out this hatchery, but all the minerals are gone, so I'm not sure that they really care that much. Basically, the Zerg doesn't really need to build anything anymore. He just needs to move his Swarm Host forward constantly. And air is not going to work because there's just too many Corruptors. Ground is not going to work because there's too many Locusts. And I really think the counter to Swarm Host is just do a bit better job of scouting and don't let them build so damn many. You know, if you start to see 4 or 5 Swarm Hosts, or 6 or 7, you start wiping them out as soon as possible. You start wiping out the economy. You start doing something, because once you get this critical number of Swarm Hosts, there's no way to attack it via ground. And air, you've got to be really on your toes to get in there and to start attacking them. And it's very hard to do that with air, especially when you've got an aggressive Zerg player who keeps popping down Spore Crawlers, who keeps popping out Vipers, who keeps popping out everything else. I mean, it's really, really, really hard to kill those Locusts. I mean, we got these guys taking our stuff, and I don't think it matters at the moment, because he has no way of taking out the Swarm Hosts. He's got no way of taking it out. And there's no point trying to wipe out all these buildings, because there's so many Spore Crawlers in the middle of this huddle that are just never going to be taken out because there's too many Swarm Hosts. We've built up a sort of an army again. He's going for carriers. He's going to give them a try against the Locusts. Of course, that is, in my opinion, an abysmal choice, because, of course, the carriers... Well, first of all, the Corruptors are going to wipe them all out. And the carriers, they attack one unit, and then the Interceptors will return to the carrier before they move out to the next unit. So it's horrible for units with low health when there's a large swarm of them. I'd say Colossus with a front army is definitely a good choice versus Swarm Host, but they're at a critical mass where no amount of army is going to hold the fort long enough. Look at these guys, they're barely out of health. And I have no idea what the Protoss can do. He can try and wipe out all the buildings, but I don't think that he can kill all these Swarm Hosts. Look at he's just running so low on money. Meanwhile, the Zerg has just got so much money because he hasn't had to spend anything. I mean, he bought those Corruptors, but that was it. He's been doing a massive amount of Swarm Host damage, and he hasn't had to pay anything. The Locusts don't cost anything at all to send out. They're just free. And here we go. Here's the Spore Crawlers moving in for a bit of defense. Defense against Dark Templar, I guess. Defense against everything else. And this game is got to be over at this point. The Zerg has the the Protoss has the mobility. He can go anywhere and he can hit anywhere except this area. He can't hit that area. It's just too hard to hit that area, but he can hit everything else. He can wipe out all these bases if he wants to, but it's not going to win him the game. And the Zerg doesn't need those bases anymore. He doesn't need production facilities. He doesn't need economy anymore. He's got a crap load of minerals. He doesn't even need to produce anything. He's got the army he needs to win this game, and there's nothing the Protoss can do about it at this point but watch his buildings die to Lucuss. That's all there's left in this game. He's going to give it a bash though. Here you go, these guys going in. Going for... I'm not sure exactly what they're going for at that point, but... trying to go for something anyway. Yeah, I mean, what can we say? Swarm hosts, I thought they were pretty crap at the start, but when you get a critical mass, it seems that they're lacking a very good counter at this game. When you've got a mix of stuff, they just form a combination which is just too hard to hit. It's just too hard to hit. The only thing I can think which would work against these guys is a very well-timed, very fast attack which takes into account the fact that these guys attack so slow. So say as soon as these Locusts get out of range, you come in there with a bunch of Immortals. Hit group of say 4 or 5 Immortals, you take out about 4 or 5 of these guys, you run away. Locusts come out, Locusts are too slow to chase you. You go in again with another hit group, 4 or 5 Immortals, maybe Blink Stalkers. But you've got to time it correctly. You've got to time it so that the Locusts are not just about to pop out. It's all about the timing, it's all about avoiding the goddamn Locusts. And that's really all you can do. These guys, I mean, 160 health, 4 armor, I mean, they're a bit beefy, but Immortals will wipe them out really fast. Stalkers will wipe them out really fast. Blink Stalkers, I think, could do a lot of damage there if they went in at the right time. If they avoided the Locusts. The Locusts go in, you got a bunch of Blink Stalkers around here. I mean, with the creep is very hard because the Zerg can see you coming from a mile away. So you've got to recede this creep. You've just got to recede the creep fast as you can. Here we go, these lurkers. You're starting to move these ones over into this other position. These ones still going for the main place. So this is just scary at the moment. He's moving in. He's got a force. He's defending this base like there's no tomorrow though. So I don't think that one's going to go down anytime soon. This one's not going to go down anytime soon either. And yeah, I mean it's bad news for our Protoss player Nemesis, but it's bad news for every Protoss player, I think, because this, I mean, I'm not the best commentator in the world. I'm definitely not the best player in the world, but usually I can figure out a good counter to something, and this build right here, I do not know a counter for. This setup right here, Spore Crawlers and Swarm Hosts, I can't think of a good counter. Blink Stalkers, jumping in there would be excellent, but there's just so much creep. You need a sneak attack with Blink Stalkers to take these guys out. You can't do a sneak attack with the creep everywhere. It's impossible. It's just impossible. And once they send the lurkers directly at you, all of your stalkers are going to get wiped out. There is no question about it. If your stalkers go up against the locust will wipe everything out. Personally, I would not be surprised to see these locusts get a bit nerfed, because they do about 17 damage per second. That's per locust. They rip through armies. They can destroy an entire army in one swarm, and they're free. They're free. They're completely free. And I just don't know what anybody can possibly do against these guys. I mean, Terrans, fair enough. Terrans can probably do some siege tanks. I mean, if you got 6-7 siege tanks, I reckon you probably have a good chance of just completely annihilating the locusts by the time they get to you, because they don't have that much health, and the armor isn't going to do that much against siege tank attacks. So yeah, I think, you know, Terrans, siege tanks, it's probably, I'm going to say, the counter for these guys. And the siege tanks have such a long range as well. Now Protoss, you could say the Colossus, but we talked about this before. It all depends how these guys run up. If they run up single file, if they run up like this group, Colossus may be able to do a bit better. But still, these guys are pretty fast. I mean, With this many, I don't think the Colossus would do that well, even with their inner row. They do quite well, but you need like 6-7 Colossus to even have a chance of taking these guys out. Here we go, here's the flank. The swarm hosts are already moving in. They're going to move back. They're going to go to the safety of these spore crawlers, because they saw this army here and they're a bit worried. But this army is going to try and go ahead and take out the bases, and here we go, he's just moving a few in there, try and take it out. He has moved his forces across here, so he's done a slow base swap over to this area. He's buying time to try and destroy the buildings. And I do like this, because here we go though, he's sending the Lucuss, he's sending a lot of Lucuss down in this area, and the Protoss player is in a very, very bad spot at the moment. He's got this Void Rays coming in here, doing a bit of damage, but his ground army got mostly wiped out. Here come the Corruptors. Protoss has nothing to defend against them, and this is just bad. This is just bad everywhere. I don't think the Protoss player is... I didn't think the Protoss player was going to win this game 10 minutes ago. He's kept going with a combination of moving his entire base over to the bottom left, and the fact that swarm hosts are just so slow to actually destroy everything. They attack so slowly. But there we go. That's the last Protoss force wiped out. Army is 36 versus 144, so that's about what we'd expect. He's got a Warp Prism, he's got some Dark Templar, but really what can he do? What can he do at this point? He's struggling to figure out something. He seems to be thinking about Tempests again, but between the Vipers and the Colossus, the Vipers and the Corruptors, I don't think he's got any chance here. I think he's just gonna die, because he does not have an answer for the swarm hosts. I still think Immortals or Blink Stalkers might be the answer, but you got to be able to blink in, blink out, do the damage you need, and get out of there as fast as possible. We have a look at the Lucuss. 1.88, so they're definitely slower than Stalkers. Stalkers could run in, do some damage when the Lucuss are already out, and then blink out. As soon as they see these guys go blue, as soon as they see they're about to pop out Lucuss, blink away and run the hell away. You could have a Stalker force on either side. When the Lucuss chase this force, you send the other force in. And that is going to, I think that's going to provide a very effective counter versus the swarm host. I think that's got to be the way you got to do it. Blink Stalkers hitting from 2 different sides at once, and that's got to be the answer. It's got to be the answer for swarm hosts. Immortals will do a crap load of damage, but I don't think they can outrun. Let's see, do we have an Immortal here? No, we don't, but I don't think they can outrun Lucuss. These especially on creep. 1.88 plus 0.75 on creep. I don't think even Stalkers, I think, could still outrun them, but just barely on creep. I think Stalkers can outrun them. So it really comes down to taking out the creep as well in this case. Here we go. This base is going to go down, and I mean, what can he do? He's actually pushed in the Protoss player's pushed in. He's done a nice job here, because there were a lot of spine crawlers here. Or actually, maybe he just moved all the spine crawlers. Did he just move them? I don't know. I don't see any spine crawlers. Maybe he's just moved them onto this base. But he's not going to take out this base. He's not going to be able to take this out. Maybe with Tempest, but it's going to take too long. And there's so many spores. And each one of these spore crawlers will keep the Zerg player in the game if all these other buildings are wiped out. So he's going for mass Tempest. And he does have a fairly nice army, but the Corruptor army is still looking pretty scary. Corruptor's trying to feed the Tempest into the Spore Crawler army. The Tempests are not having any of it, but it doesn't matter, because he's still got Vipers, and every single Viper is going to be killing a Tempest, pulling it into this massive amount of Spore Crawlers. He's trying to kill these guys, but as I've said before, the Tempests just have a horribly low amount of damage versus pretty much every unit. The only unit they've got a high amount of damage against is massive air units, and there's carriers and battle cruisers, and not much else I don't think has is a massive air unit. Maybe Broodlords, but I don't think so. I don't think Broodlords are massive air units. I think we did a test in a previous game, and they didn't do a massive amount of air damage, so... yeah, it's... I don't know what else to say. Protoss is doing a very, very good job at staying in this game, but... as I've said, I think it's a lot to do with the fact that the swarm hosts are just so slow, and he really hasn't countered the swarm host at all. He's hanging on, but it's mostly because the swarm hosts are just so slow, and that is why it's taking so long to kill the Protoss player. He can always build up bases faster than the swarm host can take them out because they're so slow to get anywhere. But anyway, we might as well keep watching because, you know, it's fun, and who knows, maybe he will find the magical counter. Maybe he will go for a massive Blink Stalker attack, try and get in and do some damage, because right now Corruptors can't do anything versus Blink Stalkers, Spore Crawlers can't do anything versus Blink Stalkers, so I really think Blink Stalkers, I am going to say Blink Stalkers, 2 sets, jumping in from opposite sides, sniping the Swarm Host and then getting away before the Locusts pop out. I think that is the answer to Swarm Hosts. That is going to be my answer to Swarm Hosts, and I would love to see that actually happen in a game. It's not going to be me who tests it out though, because I am absolutely horrible at playing. So we'll just have to see. Once these Swarm Hosts, once people figure out how devastating they really can be, yeah, we're going to see a lot more people using them, and then we're going to see if somebody can come up and start using Blink Stalkers, and we're going to see exactly how those guys work. And my god, these guys' attacks are loud. I feel like they're almost overpowering my hearing at the moment, but we'll see. Maybe we'll just go over here so we don't have to listen to them. There we go, this guy's, he's cancelling a few forces, he's going to wipe these guys out, so it's a good attack there to stop this expansion from coming down, but I mean, he really didn't need them, so whatever. The Zerg players obviously think this game's taken too long, so he's going to build some Ultralists and just go in there and just start wiping things out. And the Protoss player really doesn't have enough to deal with the Ultralists. So yeah, that's it. Not really much. Void Ray still might be a good option. Might be a good option, but with the Spore Crawlers around, I don't think they are going to be a good option. You have to find a gap, and with this many Spore Crawlers, it's such a genius move to put this many Spore Crawlers next to the Swarm Host, and I really think that's what's won in the game so far, because he was going for a Void Ray attack before, but the combination of Spore Crawlers and Vipers and Queens back about half an hour ago really just completely shut down the Void Ray attacks. And now he's still trying to hit the Locusts directly on. He should know better. He should know better than attacking the Locusts fairly well head on. It just never works. It never, ever, ever works. You cannot attack the Locusts head on. It just does not work. And I am going to be well looking forward to the damage nerf on the Locusts. Really, really looking forward to it, because those guys, in my humble opinion, they are overpowered like you would not believe. Damage 15 every 0.8 seconds. Now these guys to 12 every 1.44 seconds. That means that, I mean, these guys only have 2 attack, fair enough, but that means that a Locust by itself does about 1.5 to 2 times the damage that a Stalker does. And that is insane. It's insane. I'm going to say that one more time. It's insane. Absolutely insane. The amount of damage these Locusts is doing is insane. They've got a very low range, but they're fairly fast. They're, you know, they're not slow by any stretch of the imagination. 1.88. I mean, that's not slow. It's slower than half the Protoss units, but I mean, look at these Tempests. They're 1.88, so I don't know. They're just stretching out the game at this point. I think the Protoss player is going to go down to the very last building, and yeah, Protoss players, you can't really say he's holding on because he's still losing buildings. He's still going through, and he's still getting buildings destroyed. He is building up a crapload of minerals at the moment, but with a crapload of minerals, all they can produce is zealots, and they are not going to be very good versus the locusts. So yeah, blink stalkers, maybe immortals, maybe void rays if there's no spore crawlers. That is my recommendation, but we're not going to see that in this game because it's too late, and the Protoss just doesn't have the gas to try any of those options. And he's spending it all on Tempest, of course, which we already know can barely even kill a Locust. It takes like 3 shots from a Tempest to even kill a Locust. Yeah, maybe a nerf to the health as well. I mean, seriously, 65 health. That's a pretty large amount of health. I mean, these guys have 160 health. So that's pretty insane. How much Dark Templars have 120 health, so considering these units are free? No. Considering you get 3 of them from each swarm host? So how many swarm hosts does this guy have? He's got 29. So rudimentary mathematics comes out to about 87 locusts. So we're going to do a timer here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we've got a timer down here, don't we? I totally lost count there, but I think that was about 20 seconds. So 20 seconds, he gets 3 from each one, and that's just nuts. It's just nuts, and what's even more nuts is that this Protoss player is still in the game. I would have given up by now. I really would have. You must think he still has a chance? Going in there, attacking all the buildings. Look at this, he's just moved the spine crawlers over to this base now. He's got a whole bunch of beefy ultralists going on there. And yeah. Oh, this game is long. Look at that. We're in the 1 hour mark. It's actually gone off the side of the screen, but that is the 1 hour mark. Going in here. He's trying to do what he can to destroy buildings, but it will be a miracle if he manages to win, simply because he needs to kill these spore crawlers, and they are in a midst of a large amount of swarm hosts. Where's the Corruptor army? The Corruptor army is down to about 6, okay? Yeah, 6. So there may be a chance there. He may have killed enough Corruptors, so if he kills off the rest, then he can actually get in there with a bunch of Void Rays and start whacking shit out. But I don't think it's going to happen. The introduction of the Ultralisk is going to rapidly speed up the demise of the Protoss player's base. So he's not going to have to wait another half an hour to lose all these buildings. It's going to happen a lot sooner than he thought. Here we go, a whole bunch of Overseers. So the Dark Templar are not going to be any good anymore. And I think this is going to be it. I think he's going to try and destroy these buildings. I think he's going to fail. And I think the Zerg player is going to win. And thank God he's got these ultras, because another half an hour of this and I would just completely run out of things to say in this game. But we are going to keep on keeping on. He's actually destroying a fair amount of overlords, so this guy is supply capped, but he really doesn't need any more units to wipe these guys out. He just needs to go in there, he just needs to take everything out, and I think that's going to happen. I think the Protoss player is going to be out of the game, and it's a very long game, and it highlighted one very important fact to us, and that is swarm hosts are OP. OP like there's no tomorrow when you get a large amount of them. I mean, you think about it, you could get a large amount of battle cruisers, you get 1 million battle cruisers or something, cap out on battle cruisers, you can still lose the game. Because Vikings are so good, Corruptors are so good, Void Rays are so good. Get a large amount of carriers, same deal. Get a large amount of ultras, you cap out on ultras, enemy player gets a large amount of marauders, or they get a large amount of blink stalkers mixed in with mortals. Or if you're a Zerg player, I don't know what you do with a Zerg player. You get Swarm Host, that's what you do. You get Swarm Host to counter the Ultralists, and even when you cap down on Ultralists, you're not going to be able to win. Roach Hydra would also be a good choice against Ultras, I think. Maybe, if you cap down on them. I'm not for sure, but yeah, here's the thing with swarm hosts. It's complicated because when you got the combination of units, the swarm host, I don't think there's a direct counter to swarm hosts. You can't. There's no direct counter where you can just send them in and they just work. The only way to destroy the swarm host is to get tricky. There's no unit you can just send straight at it that'll wipe it out if you've got enough of them. You have to get tricky to be able to take out swarm hosts, because one-on-one Lucuss swarm versus your army, it doesn't matter what ground units you have, you are going to die. Your entire force is going to get wiped out by the swarm host Lucuss. Maybe a slow push with siege tanks and a lot of fodder up the front would work. Siege tanks wipe out all the Lucuss. You go in there, but the thing is, it's a 20-second cooldown to produce Lucuss. So you've got to kill all the Lucuss in like 10 seconds, and then you've only got 10 seconds to go in there, send your marauders stimming in to try and wipe out the swarm host before another guy comes in. And it's just, yeah, I mean, what else can you do? So I don't know. It's got to be flanking. You got to be able to flank these guys, and with the creep, it's just so hard. Yeah, both these guys have lost their hatcheries. This guy is building just the blue player has lost his hatchery, but he's rebuilding it again. The red player just going around sniping buildings, trying to finish off the blue player, but of course he needs to get in here to do that. And there's still a bit of corruptors here, and with the Vipers, I think as long as they defend near this massive amount of spore crawlers, the Zerg player will be able to wipe out this air force. Of course, the Zerg player, in order to take out this base, has to move out. And I think if he moves out with the Ultras, he's probably going to lose them, because these Void Rays and the Dark Templars probably do a pretty good job with the Ultras. So he'd have to move the whole lot out. And if it's this group versus this group, I'm going to say that the Zerg player would probably still win, I think. He doesn't have as much air attack though, so the Zerg would win on the ground. Protoss might win on the air though, that's the thing. This is going to get dragged out because the Zerg player does not want to leave these swarm hosts. And look at these poor guys, they're just getting in range of that. They did like 10 damage to that building, and it's that's going to be a bit disheartening for the Lucuss actually. They get so far, so close, and it just, oh god, why am I got 10 hours sleep last night. There is something really, really wrong with me. Maybe I'm just yawning because this game is getting boring. And you know, I'll be completely honest. This is really, it's quite boring at this point. We're going to keep playing though. Sorry, they're going to keep playing. We're going to keep watching, and we're going to see exactly what happens, and we're going to speculate on how it's going to end. And I think he is going to slowly push. I don't know. So a slow push of swarm hosts. The Protoss is just going to be able to wing around him so far. And there's so many minerals at this side of the base that with Protoss player should, I don't know what he should do. He obviously thinks he's still got a chance of winning. I happen to disagree with him. I think he has no chance of winning at this stage, because he has to destroy all these buildings, and he's not going to be able to do that. He just can't. It's impossible for him to destroy these buildings. Absolutely impossible, but he is not giving up. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep producing his buildings. Maybe we will see Blinkstalkers. Maybe we'll see Blinkstalkers. We can only hope that we'll see Blinkstalkers, and that they will wipe out these swarm hosts with some very nice attacks. And then perhaps the Protoss will win. Perhaps he will win if he does that. Meanwhile, a bunch of Dark Templars going to try and take out this hatchery. It's not going to work. Overseers come down. These guys get wiped out. So it was a nice attempt, but whether these hatcheries go down or not is really... Well, actually, it probably is quite relevant at the moment, because if he takes out both of these, then the Zerg player is going to be in a bit of trouble. And because I mean, he doesn't have any minerals. He hasn't got 300 minerals to build another hatchery. So if both of these go out, then he's going to be in trouble. Of course, the Protoss is having problems with minerals as well. He's mining both gases here, but he really needs... actually needs minerals and gas, but I think he needs the minerals a bit more at the moment. And it sounds like these guys are getting a bit bored as well. Just long game. Yeah, so anyway, you guys got to tell me what sort of games you want to see cast, because 1v1 games, I'm always going to do those. Masters, maybe some gold, diamond sort of stuff. I mean, I originally just did gold, diamond, because I didn't think I was ready to do Masters, Grandmasters games yet, but I'm feeling a bit more confident. I don't know every single timing attack and every single, these guys got 2 gas, what does it mean sort of thing, but I think I'm fast enough now to keep up with the pace in Masters and Grandmasters League, and that'll only get better with time. So I'm going to do a lot more of those if I can find the replays, which is actually a bit of a problem, because most of the replays I can find from those players are part of tournaments, and I might do that. I might grab random tournament games and just cast them as normal games, and that should be fine, but I'd also like to grab replays just from GMs playing later games, because that would be pretty awesome as well. So I've got to find a good site to get those off. Probably will do some few more, at least final series of tournaments as well. Just the final 5 games of a 1v1 tournament. I did that for the GOM SC2 Cup, which was organised at the ESL. I haven't uploaded those, but they will be uploaded before this game, so by the time you watch this video you'll already know about them, because they'll already been updated. And unfortunately there was a bit of a mix-up with the replay ordering from somebody who uploaded that, so that was a bit of a pain, but they were still very good games. I think one of the games was actually on this map, which is a pretty sweet game. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. I love doing 4v4 games, and I love doing free-for-all games, but I want to do them with Masters players, and I just can't find any replays with 4v4 Masters or free-for-all Masters. I'd love to see them. I really would, because Masters 4v4, it would just be crazy. But of course, Masters players, I mean, they practice for 1v1, they don't practice for 4v4, so they probably don't, you know, they probably don't like playing 4v4 as much as 1v1. I can imagine it would be frustrating playing a bit of 4v4 if you're a Masters player, because you just don't have that much control as compared to other players. I mean, we got Storm coming up, so maybe he's thinking, alright, let's go to the Storm. Let's go to the Storm on the Lucuss, and of course, the Storm is going to be good versus the Lucuss, but it's not going to be good versus... Actually, I don't know. Storm versus the Swarm host. It might be an idea. It might be an idea if he gets a couple of storms up, but I think it'd take like 2 to 3 storms per Swarm host to take him out. So yeah, this guy is just going base hunting. He knows where the bases are, but he's making sure there's no pylons left over in the map and anything like that. So that should be fine. Oh, let's just alt tab for a second. And one of my videos is uploaded, but the other one isn't. I'm uploading them overnight. I uploaded 2 last night. Well, one was 3 gig and the other was 2 gig, so they didn't actually finish in time. Usually 2 overnight finishes, but these were massive videos. Not as massive as this, of course, but they were still pretty massive. Oh, this one is going to be a nightmare to upload. It's going to take like 2 days to get up there. It's going to be like 6 gig or something stupid. Actually, that's going to be worrying, because I'm not sure if my operating system is 32 big, so I don't know if it can create files that are bigger than 4 gig, and I have a feeling this one will be bigger than 4 gig. But we'll just have to see. I might have to do a bit of funky compression to get it down below 4 gig, but we will see. Maybe it will create it bigger than 4 gig. YouTube has like a 20 gig upload limit or something, so we're never going to reach that. I hope we're never going to reach that. These guys will die of boredom before we reach that. I can only hope. This Protoss player is stubborn, man. He is stubborn as all hell. He is stubborn like you would not believe. And here we go. This guy's actually creeping up to this base. That's how he's going to do it. He's just going to creep all over this base. And yeah, it's actually expanding the distance the Lucuss can travel by expanding the creep. Making the creep go longer, they get closer and closer. But there we go. Alright, so what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? I already said, tell me what games you want me to cast. I'm thinking about sometime in the future maybe organising my own sort of tournaments as well. Just sort of low-key sort of stuff. But that'll be well in the future. Probably when I start getting a bigger subscriber base. Right now I've got like a fairly small subscriber base. It's like it just only a couple of weeks ago it got out of the single digits, so I got 13 people, which is cool because, you know, I only started a few weeks ago, so 13 people. It's definitely a cool amount, but I very much like to obviously increase that number. I'm casting a lot of videos, so hopefully it gets a lot of interest, and I try to make them interesting. This is going to be the exception, obviously, because it's just so long, but I can't just stop halfway through and just say this game is boring. And what we are going to do, though, no, we're not going to do that, is we can see how long it goes for. It goes for the 1 minute 40 second. We are going to speed it up now. I should have done this before. I apologise, but we are going to speed it up now. 4 times speed. We're going to keep an eye out and we're going to see what happens here. Screw it, 8 times speed. So far the Protoss moving forward a little bit. He's not really doing much. The Zerg player just expanding, the Protoss player just expanding. We're going to have a critical number of Tempests, and when I say critical number I mean that they're going to be a large amount of guys not really still doing that much damage. Here we go. He's starting to move some ground forces in, but they're still, yeah, not doing that much. Really not doing that much. The Lucuss are all dying out naturally. He's nowhere near doing the damage that he needs to kill them all. So we'll move back to ×1 here. I want to see if these High Templars manage to do anything. Not really. Not really. Here we go, a couple of Ultras went in, took out a lot of workers. Dark Templars chased them away. Here comes the Tempest, they take about 10 hits and they still don't die. That is it. Tempest, unless you're going against massive air units, I'm going to say these guys are pretty useless. Or you're going for long range harass on over a cliff or something. Like for example, this base. You whack a couple of like 5 or 6 Tempests here, you attack the workers. That is a brilliant play. That really is, because it doesn't matter how slow they attack. If the Zerg doesn't have anything in the air, if they've got a Roach Hydra army, there's no way the Hydras can attack those Tempests. So that is going to be a brilliant move, but for actually putting out the damage, no, Tempests are horrible. They're absolutely horrible, and I do not, for the life of me, I can't think of why he's continuing to go Tempest against the Swarm Host. You should have realised, like 10 hours ago, that they were going to be crap, and we're going to speed this game up again. He's going to slowly push in. The Lucuss just run right past and keep going until they die, so here we go. We're getting into the stage where these guys are actually going to try and make a push, going to try and do some attacks. He really has pushed up a nice air army, and the Zerg player, he started to work on his corrupted numbers again, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. So it's a very good chance that with this massive air army, he might actually be able to take these guys out. We'll have to see how that happens. And yeah, maybe the Protoss player will win this after all. So here he goes, the air army comes in. He's going to find him a little bit higher, a little bit more than he originally thought. He's going to back out into the safety of the Spore Crawlers. He's got to yank these guys one by one into the Spore Crawlers. And the Protoss player is going to continue to target the Spore Crawlers, which is going to be made a lot harder by the fact that the auto attack keeps hitting the Lucuss. But there he goes. He's going to keep going in, keep attacking these spore crawlers. He's got to watch out for the Vipers. Vipers managed to snag an observer there. That was a bit of a misclick, but there we go. Tempest doing a lot of damage to these corruptor forces, doing a lot of damage to the spore crawlers. He's taking them out one by one. He's moving the swarm host a little bit further back. But here we go. We're going to see. He's slowly taking these guys out. We have a look at the structures tab. He's only got 23 spore crawlers left. And this number is rapidly going down. These guys go in for another attack. The Tempests go in. They're going to wipe out all these Corruptors. Corruptors move back. He's losing bits and pieces by pushing in. He's got to be wary of these spore crawlers. He's doing an excellent job, but he's got to be worrying a little bit. Have a look at the production. There we go, 14 Vipers. He's really got to get in there, start yanking them in. And this is what he needs to do, but he's running out of spore crawlers to yank these guys in. And these guys are running out of energy. Well, they don't have any energy, so they really... The Protoss manages to take out all these spore crawlers before these Vipers get the energy up. Then I think he might be in a good position to win this game. But here we go, here's the first one. And here, the army has just got to move in. I think he can just move in now and just start wiping all these guys out. Here we go, the Viper's taken a lot of hits there. They're yanking in a couple of the Tempests. Tempests are dying, but they're dying slowly. These guys are not being wiped out at any very large pace. And there are a lot of them, so they are taking out these guys, but the Vipers are very persistent here. If we have a look at the units tab, there's only 6 Vipers left, so he's done a good job of taking them out. But he needs to move in, he needs to wipe out the rest of these spore crawlers, and he really just needs to finish off these swarm hosts. And we need to see what's happening. 12 more Vipers coming on in. Here we go. For the first time in this game, the swarm hosts are being taken out. Now going out, here comes some more Vipers. They're getting taken out. 2 of them just got wiped out by massive volleys from the Tempest. Here we go, there's some guys going in, but he can just move these guys away. I don't think there's enough swarm hosts, spore crawlers, to take them out, but he's just going to leave them in the middle to get attacked. And they are going to run away with a stupidly low amount of health. 3 health on that guy, and 3 health on that guy. So that was a bit of a mistake, but there we go, he's taken out the swarm hosts. But I don't know if the swarm hosts are really doing that much anymore. You should probably just concentrate on the spore crawlers, because once the spore crawlers are all dead, then I think this game is pretty much over, and I think the Protoss will have eked out a win. And here we go, there's a large amount of Vipers shifting these guys in, so this army is slowly getting whittled down by the remainder of these spore crawlers. The spore crawlers is down to 14, but that's still a fairly decent number. This is a death zone over there for the Protoss army, and the Vipers know it. They are getting in there, and they're taking it out. Of course, the attacks, the ranged attack does have a range of 15 as well, so the Vipers, anytime they go near, they are taking a massive amount of damage. And we can see if we go to the units tab, he's completely out of Vipers again. He's probably going to produce a lot more. Now he's going for Corruptors. He thinks maybe he can get a force capable of taking these guys out, but I don't think he can. I think this massive amount of Tempests, he's got a critical number of Tempests at this point, and at this point there's not much that the Zerg player can do about it. If you have a look at the units, he's got 1 swarm host left and just a whole bunch of spore crawlers. So Tempests finally gone in there, finally done the job, and I think the swarm hosts, they were the driving force for the first part of the game. They were unstoppable, but we've also shown here the weakness of the swarm hosts, and that is that they are slow. It takes ages to destroy anything. It takes ages to take out the base, and he didn't do the push up here as fast as he would have liked. He just relied on his swarm hosts, and the swarm host could not take out this base as fast as he could. And the Protoss player, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. He's got probably the gas mining from each of them, 63 harvesters. Swarm host could not stop that massive amount of economy, could not stop the massive amount of Tempest. He maxed out, and then he just went in there, and with max Tempest, the range was just beautiful. He had some very nice work going on with the Vipers and with the Colossus. And look at these guys. I don't know where they are going. They need to start hitting these guys from the side, but I guess with the massive range, there's just not much that they can do to take out these guys. And yeah, I got to agree with that player. It is one of the most epic games. The lull in the middle of it though was nearly drove me crazy. I'm glad that I decided to speed it up, because otherwise we'd still be in the lull at this point, but instead we are pushing ahead. This guy is moving out with his air-only army, with the inability to attack anything but air. So we'll see exactly what he's planning on doing. I'm not sure. Really, I'm really not sure what he's planning on doing. Maybe he's just going to yank... I don't know if you can yank guys into the lava. I don't think he can. Maybe he's got to morph these guys into broodlords. Does he have a greater spire? No, he does not. He's got 2 hatcheries and that's it. And these hatcheries are going to be going out fairly soon. And yeah, there we go. I think that's the end of the game. He's just got one more hatchery. He's building another one over there. And he is going to stick all his forces on top of it. But he doesn't even have minerals left to build any spore crawlers. And I don't think it would help even if he did. So there we go. He's just waiting for the end of the game to happen. And really, what I think he should have done is the swarm host wiped out this area. They did an excellent job. Right up to where this area got wiped out, the swarm host did beautiful. And I think at that point, he should have transitioned. He should have said, alright, I've got the swarm host now. Now I've got to go, and I've got to do cleanup duty. That's what he should have been thinking. Alright, he's taken his main base. Cleanup duty. Right now he's just building up. I need to hit him hard. Transition. Ton of lings, ton of roaches, ton of hydras, even a ton of mutas. Just clean up duty all over the place. Do it fast, do it hard. Because he had the economic advantage at that point. And he didn't do it. He didn't go for it. He just didn't go for it. He didn't go for the cleanup duty that he really needed to. There we go. 1 Dark Templar. Nothing that can actually attack ground. This guy's just going to be yanking him away. It's just like, don't attack that, you naughty, naughty child. Come back here. And... oh, poor guy. He doesn't even need to move his air army in. He just needs these zealots to wipe out this hatchery. And that is going to be all she wrote there. Structures, 1 hatchery, 1 spawning pool, and 96... That's right, no, 94 now, creep tumors. So he's creeping all over the place. He's actually creeping from one end of the world to the other. And here we go. There's the Tempest army going in. And the hatchery went down just in time. So that is going to be a victory. And we have learnt some very, very important things in this stupidly long game. And that is Swarm Host together with Spore Crawlers and a bunch of Vipers is almost unstoppable. And there's very, very hard to counter with a slow push from that, guys. But it is a slow push, as we can see by this game time. It takes forever to do everything. But Tempests, the range on those Tempests, if you get a large amount of them, if you max out your army, you can do a lot of good stuff. I'm still going to maintain that Blink Stalkers with some exceedingly good micro would be a better option, because Tempests are just so expensive and they're just so slow at damaging. But we did see Tempest take out the massive amount of Swarm Hosts here. And I say good job to the Protoss player for managing a win here. And for not giving up when I said 10 times he should have given up. But he didn't give up. And he managed to get a win. And good on him. And I hope this game got him into Diamond League. Because my God, he deserves to get something out of this game. So there we go. Congratulations to our Protoss player Nemesis. Good job, Lucuss. Excellent use of Swarm Hosts with that slow push. And thank God it's over. This has been Hairy Muppet. If you've made it all the way to the game and you're still watching, then if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Because if you sat through that game, then you're going to love the rest of my games. Because they're all a lot shorter. and they're all pretty exciting as well. But there we go. Thank you very much. This has been Hairy Muppet, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll try and speed up more the next time if we see a game like this. So there we go. See you guys later.